What's Scurv doing?
Scurv!
Getting some of that
I'm going
gold
to have
kiss
to say
rub.
fuck it when it comes to not running the air conditioner because it's already 80 degrees in here. Because it's already 90 degrees outside. And because it's already...
summer.
Yeah, you can just get a rainbow foil Traverse the Universe for $20. I mean,
I'm not going to lie.
$2.
It's crazy to me that Mask of Recurring Nightmares is under $10. Like...
Yeah.
Insane. I think it's so cool. Like I figured this out back when the last of the Aria heroes LL'd. I took a look and I was just like, huh. Not only is it and it's like a little different because Aria was a bit like overprinted, but like knowing that all of the heroes were LL'd meant that none of the elemental cards were available to be played in the format. And I was just looking, I mean, like Blink was like 10 cents. Flicker Wisp was like 10 cents. All these super cheap, like Majestics from the set. And I was like, I should probably just speculate on a lot of these and just to know that we're going to be coming back to Aria at some point. And lo and behold, Rosetta came out and everybody's like, wait a minute. Flicker Wisp and Arc Lightning work together? Okay. And then the card shot up from like 10 cents to like $5. And I was like, oh. This is exactly what this should be. Like, this is what it's going to happen for the rest of the game forever. Is if a talent or a certain cards for a certain hero get LL'd out of the format effectively, pick them up for incredibly cheap, and then when they come back, you can go, oh cool, I got them for like pennies, and now they're selling for like 1,000 times the price.
Yeah, buy 2 or 3 of them, and then sell one of them and pay for the other one that you get for free.
Mm-hmm.
Trade the other one off.
We've been doing that for a long time at this point. So
yeah, I mean I mean when James Webb initially was like, oh yeah, the dusts are going to be important for Dromai, like they were still able to find them for like 10 cents on the market.
Brother, I'm still waiting for the amulets to come into the actual limelight here. So
I'm telling you, it's crazy. I don't know. There's just a lot happening with it, and I think a lot of people are just like, the
day will come.
People are trying to catch on, but I think it's with it being such a player-focused market and a lot of people chasing the meta. It's only like those cards that matter until they're meta, and then it's like, oh, okay, like that's it.
All right. Well, this thing's all relevant again. I guess we need to go buy every copy that there is.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of relevant, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people that are watching this on YouTube, we're going to start this podcast because we're relevant. And that's to say that we have really cool people with us today. First and foremost, back from a hiatus for a little bit. Alex, how have you been, sir? It has been a while.
I've been very good. I've been very busy. Work has kicked my butt several weeks in a row, but I am very excited to continue to talk about Fab. I've obviously been doing a lot of stuff on the channel there, so I'll look at that. Now we're twinsies.
Well,
so
we can get Ben can wear his.
Ben get his.
We'll have a whole. This is not a sponsored podcast.
Now we know. But it is. It's great to be back. Honestly, I'm happy to be talking about the stuff we're talking about, and I'm very lucky to continue to speak about such a game that I love so much. So.
And Ben, I know I saw you just the other day, but buddy, how are you doing?
Doing good. Lots of cool announcements today, and I'm excited to talk Flesh and Blood.
Well, for those that may have been living under a rock or want to throw one, Super Slam got dropped at Pro Tour Singapore, or like more information. Is that an appropriate bit of lead in there? I don't know. That sounds close. Sounds
we got some new
right?
spoilers.
Yeah.
So I'm all for this. So who wants to kick this off? I think somebody kind of had some ideas in an idea list here, but there's actually surprisingly a lot to dive into, just from the keynote itself. But really, Pleiades.
Yeah, I think we finally got Pleiades, right? Like that ability on her being able to use those suspense counters, I think is going to be super unique for Guardian. Just a whole nother play avenue, a whole nother way that you can build Guardian and think about, how are these auras, how are they interacting with my game state or building a board state with her. I think that she's going to be a standout hero for this set. So I'm really excited for her. I don't play Guardian at all, but I just think that Pleiades is going to be a really neat and unique hero.
Yeah, I do think so. I think Pleiades is going to be definitely. I wasn't expecting aura time counters, like suspense counter situation for a Guardian.
Time
Definitely
Lord
seems more wizard shit. But this is definitely something very cool to see, where it's effectively playing these suspense auras and then moving their counters around so that they can be essentially removed at all of the same time. Because notably, if 3 of them are removed at the same time, you can play one of her special Majestics in the deck, which effectively says that if it hits, take an extra turn.
Time walk, baby!
Something we didn't expect. Like, that is, and for the record, that attack costs 6 resources and comes in for 8 damage. So I don't know what these other suspense auras are going to be to like pump that up to a level that's like insane, but I do think that it is pretty cool that it's kind of like a set up your board to have the correct things here. Obviously, we've had aura destruction since like heavy aura destruction since Rosetta. So I don't know how easy it's going to be to have that happen, but I know that I'm happy I picked up my copies of Runic Reclamation. I'm happy I have my copies of Condemned to Slaughter, so that I can just be like, cool, you don't get to do your thing. Like, if that's your whole thing you're trying to get to, then that's fine. But it is cool to see that we have a very unique and different way to play the hero, the class specifically.
I was just throwing up some of the heroes there as we were chatting. So, yeah, some of the coverage here went into, I mean, there's just a couple of very weird but interesting cards that kind of got showed. I think they're mostly...
Did you see Overcrowded?
Yeah, that's
what the hell?
That
card's insane.
Ambush.
Yeah, Ambush.
That's pretty cool.
It's got the additional value there on the defense. I mean, like, it quite literally, when James White is just like, this is how you can easily do like some silly counters to Codex of Frailty, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's a generic, like, it's got Ambush, so you can block with it from the arsenal, and effectively you just, because your opponent makes a Ponder and gives you a Frailty, this effectively gets, if your opponent plays Codex of Frailty, this blocks for 4, and you can block with it from the arsenal, which means that Codex of Frailty stocks just went super down with this being a generic. Like, I don't think it's going to be the direct answer, because let's be honest, it kind of sucks everywhere else, but it is pretty cool to know that, like, if that is something that's going to like blow you up and like completely blow you out as far as the game goes, it's kind of cool to know that you're going to have it there, even if you park it in the arsenal before they play Codex of Frailty. It still gets its full value, like, I think the real value in Codex of Frailty is being able to discard a card from your opponent's hand, and so if that still happens, it does still suck. But if the card you discard is an Overcrowded and you already have one in your arsenal, or like you want to get another one from your graveyard, it's a great way to block those out. But it's cool. I don't know that it's going to be like the best thing or how much it's going to be run, but it is a nice new answer for that.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I've been, while you're chatting there, I've been pulling over some cards. So we were just talking about Overcrowded here. We're going to go ahead and jump to the next thing here. Confidence tokens. Finally got to see what those are. What are your thoughts on the generic aura here, which is at the start of your turn, destroy this. The next attack action you play this turn can't be defended by more than two non-block cards. I have some thoughts on this, but I want to have you guys talk through it first, because there was some conversation in the local Discord that I'm inclined to agree with, but it's Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, like, I think it's essentially a somehow even a little bit worse dominate overpower. I think it's neat because it effectively says like, hey, like 2 is the most you're going to get out of it. Obviously, this gives more towards making sure people are playing block cards in their deck. I know obviously Guardians are probably playing, at least most probably play something along the lines of Test of Strength, or I know Rune Blades are playing things like Haunting Rendition. I know that, just block cards have existed for a little while, and I don't know that they're taking the place of like D-Reacts, but notably this means that you can only block with even 2 D-Reacts, which is really, really crazy. Like, if you have no block cards and you only have D-Reacts, you can only block with 2 D-Reacts and that's it. So I don't know how tall these attacks are coming in for, but we have D-Reacts that block for like 7. So it might not be anything really crazy effective, but obviously it depends on whether or not the hero ends up actually making it into the meta, because then that changes. So
Ben, any thoughts to add on the confidence?
Yeah, I think this one shines in the aspect that it basically shuts your opponent out from blocking with multiple equipment. So that's kind of an added benefit that Dominate and Overpower don't have, is you can only use those 2. You can't just spend your full fridge on somebody and say, okay, well, I'm just gonna, if I'm Warrior and I'm just gonna take my whole 10, 12 worth of armor and just put it in front of some big Guardian attack. Nope, you can't do that anymore. You're going to get punished by this confidence token. So I think that's another cool aspect of like the sideways design aspect, where they're giving some more evasion to Guardians.
Gotcha. So I'm going to read an excerpt from the Discord here that it kind of, to me, as a non-super good player, this is something that I was wanting to get more clarification on. So you have Overpower, you have Dominate, you now have Confidence. There are going to be combos and ways that these can stack. There's going to be ways you might be able to possibly have more than one, or like basically an operand, like this or this or this and this. And my question in the Discord was basically, what is the big difference between it? Some people were trying to explain that. But somebody said that Overpowered and now Confidence, it really feels like they were trying to exactly tune what particular form of evasion a hero wants to have, and it feels like they are trying to land on exactly how it feels. We may never see the other versions again. Do you feel that they are trying to whittle these down? Because as a forever non-rotating game currently, trademark hopefully never rotation, but these cards will exist forever. So as they design different areas, do you think that this confidence token is something that they're taking into consideration as what they thought those Dominate or Overpowered should have been to begin with? Or is this just another flavor that just happens to be useful and that's where it is?
This is another flavor. It's not anything that's supposed to replace Dominate or Overpower. Everybody thought that Overpower was to replace Dominate. But let's be honest, the issue of it all isn't even so much that it's like, if the hero power is something that gives Dominate or Overpower, that is their way of doing that kind of evasion to stuff. Bravo has got the Overpower, or the Dominate, and Betsy has Overpower. Ladies is just going to have Suspense. Or not Suspense, I'm sorry, Confidence. But even still, Confidence being significantly worse because it's a token that you have to make, as opposed to it being a hero power that you create or that you have natively. Notably, there are action cards that will never be removed from the game of Flesh and Blood that have Dominate and or Overpower on them. And those aren't going to go away, even though, as the game continues to evolve, if we're not doing anything rotating. So I think that this is just a different way to go about doing it. I think mainly whenever they create ways of evasion like this, it's for the limited format, to make the limited format more specific in that scenario, because you want it to be like people are cheering for you, so now you have confidence in yourself to be able to get past your opponent's defenses and beat them, right? I feel like thematically that's where we see things when we change any of these keywords or things like that. But I don't believe that it was a direct way to be like, hey, people are still blocking way too much on Overpower, or they're blocking way too much on a Dominate. How do we get rid of that? And the answer is still, you don't, because you have cards like Unmovable, you have cards like Staunch Response, you have 10 foot tall and bulletproof, which
My
is
favorite
literally
card.
just a block 10. Like, that's a big card. So if it really comes down to it being like, okay, there was the interaction with Crush cards, because Crush, you have to, 4 damage or more is what activates that effect. And that's a cool interactive way to be like, okay, you only need to block this amount to still take damage maybe, but if your opponent's going to attack reaction to bump it up 1 more, maybe you get hit with the Crush effect. Whereas this here, there are probably not going to be so many on hits, but there are ways to essentially push up that damage and say, hey, your opponent's not able to just hard block with their armor anymore. And then then of course they're still able to block with 2D reacts if they need to. So there are ways for it to be defended. I don't think it's going to be something that's like changing the way that Guardians are played forever, outside of the suspense being probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I was Mr. Salty at our armory, by the way, because a Jarl took me to Pound Town, Clean Town. Jake did a really good job. Not this Jake, the other Jake, the Jake that actually is good at playing. He walked me through a park, and I got curb stomped multiple occasions. I got to the point where I think I cycled my hand, and he was like, Overpower, Dominate, Frostbite, 2 or 3 things, and I had no equipment by like turn 3. I was like, yeah, this is super fun. We're gonna just go to the next one.
That's just it. When they get rolling, they get rolling.
But anyways, on to toughness. Toughness. Start of your opponent's turn. Destroy this. The next action card you defend with gets +1 this chain link. Can this this sounds interesting. I mean, it sounds like it can be used in a lot of flavorful ways.
Yeah, with Tough Nut, him being able to make a toughness token, I think that's gonna basically, like, people have been talking about a deck with him where you basically run all blues and you run the rock, and then you use his ability to basically tap and then swing the rock at him. So the idea is kind of like to basically block with 3 cards, send the rock at him, and this being able to basically just be like this chain link. I think it kind of restricts you on like where you can use this extra point of block value, so people can kind of play around it. Which is probably a good balancing act in that regard, because then Tough Nut can basically just like block for essentially 10 and swing 7, which is pretty good return rates for him. So I still think this is going to be a good card, and will be able to help him out in those go taller matchups. But he's still going to have to really navigate go wide strategies, and decks like Gravy Bones are going to want to attack him with allies every turn.
Yeah, it is I'm not like absolutely in love with it, just because it's got the ability to stack. But notably, the thing that's important is that this is something I even brought up on a video I made recently in regards to the fact that it's not like Embodiment of Earth, where for the entire turn all of your X action cards get +1 to defense. This is only your next action card, which means that if you have a bunch of cards in your deck that maybe are blues, but maybe they have 0 block, they could block for maybe 2 if you're able to get a toughness token out. But notably, the only thing that's really getting toughness tokens out is when you get cheered. So whenever you pitch that top card of your deck to attack with rock, you're going to get a toughness token. So I don't know that if you want to consider it, it's kind of like quote unquote gaining 1 point of health every turn, if you want to put it in like the true value perspective, because you pitch the top, you swing 7, you get a toughness token. Then at the beginning of your opponent's turn, your 3 blocks for 4, and then you block 3, pass, and then pitch to Tough Nut. And so if you're able to get that going all the time, I still think that disruption is like so important in Fab right now that I don't know that that's going to be enough to do anything at all, because people can just block 6 and then send a whole bunch more damage at you until eventually Tough Nut dies. But maybe there's obviously going to be more that we don't know about, revered cards and whatever new brute cards are coming out. I think it'll be cool, but I don't know that. I think you're gonna have to stack a lot of these together. There are probably going to be cards that act probably a bit more like cast bones, but for toughness, where you get X amount of toughness tokens at an instant speed to prepare yourself for the oncoming onslaught that is your opponent. And that in a situation like that only really matters when you're blocking large guardian attacks or large brute attacks. But it is your next attack action card gets the value. So if you have a bunch of action cards in your deck and then you save the attack action block for like the really big disruptive hit, that's a little bit different too. So it'll make blocking Bonds of Agony really easy. So that'll be fun.
All right, next up. In the palm of your hand. That's going to be kind of an interesting one.
This was kind of bonkers when I first looked at it. So on face value, when you're basically like, when I'm looking to evaluate a card, really looking at like that whole 8-point scale of card value. For this card here, it's basically, so it's got 1 pitch, so it's worth 1. It's an instant. So generally most people ascribe 3 points of value for it being an instant, and it's a block 3 on an instant, which I think is maybe the first block 3 instant in the game.
I would agree.
So you've got 7 points of value there, and then I can't see the cost of the cards. It costs,
I think it costs 2.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're back to basically 5 to subtract that. But we've got this other cool ability on it, which is whenever it enters or leaves the arena, you get to draw a card. So drawing a card is worth about 3 points of value. So you're getting another 6 back. So if you're just doing kind of like the rough math on that, this is a 12-point card on an instant. So I think this thing is kind of bonkers.
Yeah, definitely a incredibly powerful thing. To see that it blocks is kind of the craziest thing to me. If from a value perspective of pitching a card, playing this to replace itself with the on-enter draw card situation, it's really the leaves the arena part that gives you that like additional part of value, because you don't have to use a card in order for that to get you a card to your hand. But I think notably it's really cool because again, it's got suspense. Pleiades I almost called her Aurora. Pleiades is able to move around the counters on suspense. So, I'm happy it's not like, okay, if this is still around at the beginning of your turn, draw a card, because that would be no go. That would be far too powerful for a card. But I think it is great to be able to at least get yourself an arsenal target, right? Let's say you block 6, pitch to play in the palm of your hand, draw a card, get an arsenal, and then you can set yourself up to start getting these suspense counters over on different instants or different auras that have suspense, and then eventually you could draw into your powerful card. So
next up, outside interference. This is
freaking nuts.
This is wild. Well, first, the artwork.
Crazy. Like Jacob, go ahead. You had words. Say your piece.
I mean, I'm looking at this strictly from an artwork perspective, because I don't really know much about reviled brute actions at this point, but it is a 0 defense. It has a defense value, which also means that there are ways for it to get pumped up, if I understand right, based on some other cards, so that could be an option.
Yeah.
It is a blue pitch. It costs 3. It's an instant, and obviously it costs 6, so there's some brute synergies. Again, this is just my basic knowledge of brutes, but like, discard this, reveal a reviled attack action from your inventory and put it into your hand. Inventory. Now, from the mechanologist perspective, inventory typically is, I guess in the whole 80 cards, your inventory is everything you're not in your main deck. But
correct.
You basically get a tutor for any card that you feel like.
A tutor you don't even have to have in your deck. Like,
Nope.
it just replaces, it's literally a sideboard card that says, all right, well, maybe I did side out incorrectly because my opponent decided to play this version of this instead of this. Let me go get this card instead and see if it worked. Like, and I mean, a reviled action is just like bully tactics. Bully tactics is a reviled action, and it quite literally says pitch a blue and intimidate 3 times. Like, you can just grab it, and it costs 0. It's an instant, so you're not paying any kind of action point for it. It's insane. Also, of course, it's a discard 6, so it turns on Mandible Claw. It turns on Romping. Well, you can't play Romping Club. It turns on Wrecking, Ball Breaker. It's kind of insane to me that this card didn't get as much hype as when they showed like Pleiades' card or whatever, the standing ovation. This was insane to me because I'm just like, cool. So you effectively just get to replace this card with a card that you know is going to be best against your opponent in this hand, and just get it set up. Notably, also, you can do it to like set it up as an arsenal target, right? You can be like, cool, I don't have an arsenal, discard this, get a card to my hand that I know I'm going to use in my next turn because I pitch deck properly, set that stuff in the arsenal, then get ready to send it to your opponent. And we don't even know all the reviled cards. There could be even more. Obviously, reviled is all about like cheating things into stuff, and so like we don't even know what kind of disgusting stuff is when, like, you know, your opponent can't block from their hand for the rest of the turn. Like, we don't know. And so because of that, like, I'm really keeping an eye on what these, out of all of the cards in the set, these reviled cards are going to be something to keep a look at, because they seem to do the most interaction, and just by being like, hey, we're cheating. And that's like our whole theme, is that we're cheating. And so I don't know how you make that actually like legal and fair inside the game of Flesh and Blood without keeping that theme, but
people could just run 2 copies of a card in main board, 1 copy in sideboard, and this might allow them to go get that too, technically. So
yeah, I mean, you can do a lot with it. There's literally, sky's the limit. I mean, effectively it just says you discard this, go get something that you actually want on this turn. Like, I can't tell you how many times I draw into 4 cards and I'm just like, if this card was this card, I'd have lethal. And now you can just do that. You can just be like, yeah, cool. Brute gets a tutor now. I don't think most people were expecting Brute to get a tutor.
It's the Bruter. The Bruter.
It's the Bruter. The Brute tutor, the Bruter.
Does it go to your hand? Is that where it goes?
Yeah, it goes to your hand.
So you could, it's got 0 blocks, so if you really needed in a pinch a 3 block, you could discard that, go find a 3 block. Really needed to.
Or get an unmovable, or get a shelter.
No, it has to be a reviled card.
Oh.
It has to be a reviled attack action. So you have to get it as a reviled card, which notably the reviled cards we know of are Bully Tactics, Mocking Blow, and Bask in Your Own Greatness. Which don't say much about what the cards actually do. Although there is a Brute reviled, well, because it looks for an attack action, so you need to be an attack action. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we briefly talked about this one, the Standing Ovation, but it was next on the spoiler list of cards that I have pulled up at the top here. So, did you want to touch on this a little bit more, or are you good with what you got?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty disgusting, but it is pretty balanced because you do get to draw up to your intellect, so I guess it's fine. This card I feel like is going to be pretty wild. That's going to be like one of her huge cards that will just swing games in her favor. So, yep, that one's probably going to be something to really watch out for.
Yeah, I do think that there are worlds in which it is important that, you know, especially with like setup turns and everything, if you get to do things like set up big guardian auras that pop at the beginning of your turn that says, you know, give +5 to your next guardian action, if you're able to cheat those out in some way and make 2 of them, right, you know, +10 to your next guardian action, and then be able to still send that damage. Notably, again, it has to hit. So it is quite a side quest you have to go on in order for all of that to happen. You have to get 3 suspense auras specifically to be destroyed at the same time, at the same turn, and then also still hit with 8 points of damage which is not a break point, but it is like it's above a 7, which would be a break point. So I think that's a lot of where the confidence tokens would come into play, is that like even if 2 damage leaks from that, you're like, cool, I get a whole turn. Like it's super easy. So and then notably, you don't have to worry about the oncoming onslaught of your opponent's response when you're trying to keep a whole hand to send a whole bunch of damage when those auras pop at the beginning of your turn. So there are worlds in which it's like absolutely crazy, but again, these like side quest combo things that need to happen are very specific. And if anybody simply just says, okay, cool, at instant speed destroy X aura, it's like, oh, okay,
quest
like,
done.
Guess we don't have anything to do with that. So
yeah, and would this also, it would affect cards that, so like you're basically making your opponent draw cards to you, draw select. So if you had cards that would punish them for drawing cards, this would apply to that. So like you could probably use like, you know, what is it? What's the headpiece that lets you draw a card? The legendary. I'm blanking on the name.
Oh, Balance Justice?
Yeah, Balance of Justice. So you could
well, notably, so there is an end phase, and on that end phase, so there still is going to be an end phase, and on that end phase it then resets to the next action phase. So I don't know that it's the same action phase to be able to trigger anything on that regard. I think effectively what happens is on the end phase, you'd go to end, you'd arsenal a card, and then when you'd pass over to your opponent, you instead don't. They draw up, and then you get your action, your turn again, effectively. Because that's the other thing, is that you get an extra turn, but it does specifically state that, like, you know, at the end of your turn, you draw up 4 cards, and your opponent would not. But in this situation, they do, because the card says that they would. So this is a judge heavy thing, kind of like how Barraging Arrow was. This is very judge specific. I think there's going to be a lot of times in which people are going to try and determine what step exists between end step, draw step, and then like new action phase step. Because, you know, is like, do you trigger Tunic again? Do you do all this other stuff? Is it still the same turn but a different turn?
Does Kano get to go oops all Kano?
Yeah. Like, and I mean, Kano still, you know, Kano still do all that stuff. Obviously, Kano could just be like, "Cool, okay, you're gonna rip stuff from my hand. Pitch, 20. All right, cool, let's do it again. Pitch.
I died
20.
to Kano on Wednesday with, I think it was either 34 damage. He did at least 34 to kill me, but I think at the end it was 45 damage because I had pitched the last card of my hand to try to go wide, and then he was like, in response to that, since you have nothing in your hand, or I had 1 card left, he like. Basically pitch stacked into a, Will of Arcana, and had the Blazing Aether. It was disgusting. Lesson in Lava. I mean, E-Pod on board. Matt could describe it much better, but there was 0 coming back from that. It was GG.
Yep. So. I know. After I did all that Kano training on the live stream I did with Flesh and Bad, I was like, this is insane. Like, the things you can just do, if you catch your opponent off guard even for a second, it's like, oh, they blow up and die. And there's literally nothing they can do about it. It's like, oh, you made one crucial mistake, too bad, die. Like, that's how it is.
Well, speaking of death, I want to lead into the next cool thing, because I've always wanted one of the cosplay promos that existed, but apparently Taylor's being retired. And in its stead, we are getting a giant scissor-wielding vampire. Well, okay, necromancer. Vampire necromancer. But it does have at least 3 hands, 4, 5, 6 hands. Like, there's so many hands on this card.
Yeah. This is anime character as hell. I love this thing. I love Frankie. I think Frankie's so cool. Just like the design of her and everything. It is one of these situations where I'm just like, I would love an entire playmat that's just like set up for Frankie, but you know, if anything, this is more opportunity for me to see. We obviously don't know if she's even going to have an effect because we only know this Marvel side. I know Taylor obviously had an effect and was technically playable in UPF, technically, I think. but we don't know whether or not this is going to be a playability thing. Obviously, to get a tailor, it's like obviously you spend $2,000 or maybe more to build a whole cosplay and get everything together, or you buy her for like $2,000, $2,000+. It's very expensive to get one of these cosplay promos, but notably, a big shout out to the cosplay community for this in that they're doing a lot more. Like, if you're brand new to cosplay, you can win one of these in like your own category of like being a beginner, which is so cool because they, you know, when you take a look at Max Ferocity and at Carolina, you're just like, there's no way. There's just no way that I could get to that level without like months and years and decades of work to honing my craft, which obviously that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, like, cosplay is its own pro tour every single time there's an opportunity for it, but it is definitely something that I think is worth it should you enjoy cosplay, because even if you just are kind of like, oh, I pulled something together last minute, it ends up being something that you're gonna actually enjoy to get, because these are cool promos and they're one of a kind, and obviously they're not going to be around forever, because if they're retiring Taylor, I mean, at some point they're going to retire Frankie, and so there's like seasonal promos that you can get for this thing, and so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I really, I don't know. I've been wanting to cosplay for a while. I made the joke about my, put me in a Art of War or something, or like me in the put a shirt on and I'm, here I'm James White in the red shirt or orange shirt, then flip it around, I'm James White in the orange shirt, then you turn around and you're like, you pull the shirt off and throw it away, and now you're the blue shirt. And I guess now I'd have to go get a judge outfit somewhere, because now there's a photo of him in the judge outfit, so that just make it even more funny. But yeah, I don't know.
I really hope they give her like the big giant pair of scissors as the weapon. Like, that's my hope for.
That would be cool. I do like the thematic like equipments they do for the cosplay stuff too. I think that's really neat.
I do also wonder if they're going to somehow tie in the prior promos. Like, I bought some off people over the years. I don't have like the super rare one. Like, there's a tunic one, I think, that's pretty cool. I never did get that one, but I got some of the smaller ones from people. But I wonder if they're going to incorporate like being able to play some of the older promos, or if they're locked to those here. I mean, it's for UPF. It's not for competitive stuff. I'm sure people will do whatever they're going to do, but kind of curious. So, all right, moving on.
They're also generics, so
yeah,
they are able to be played in anything.
We got the next interesting promo card, which let me tell you, this was
crazy.
This was pretty sweet. Swing Big, which, Everfest coming back from the dead. This is a big old chunky, I'm assuming, brute.
Yep, that was it. Rainbow foil.
Yeah, rainbow foil. So they're rainbow foil micro text box alternate art versions of Swing Big for the ProQuest season that's coming up in October. And so this, along with that overcrowded card that we talked about earlier in the video, this one, I don't know how they're distributing them. I'm assuming there's no way this is a participation prize. But if it is, that's pretty cool, because I think that going to these events, like getting the rares or the commons in like a micro extended box, it's like, sure, that's cool. But like, you're going there to like compete, at least get, something interesting, even if it's a Majestic that drops to like $2 a card.
Well, they're
a Majestic. They're going to be power.
They're doing some stuff right, and I mean, it's not all right, but I mean, looking at it from a perspective of somebody that if I were to be traveling to these events, I think getting more prestigious cards is much more worth the time, effort, and energy, as well as looking at you're getting unique stuff. Like, look at the stuff that's happening in Singapore right now. Those promos are freaking phenomenal. Like, they're fantastic. This is awesome. They may not appeal to everybody all the time, but they are definitely upping the level of, I mean, heck, I even saw there was like a guidebook that I'm still trying to get photos of. Nobody seems to be able to get me a couple of photos of the inner pamphlet of that. I wanted to talk about it today, but I was asking around all day. But it's the season guide, volume 1 for I guess they called it Super Slam or Super Smash, Smash Slam, Slash Pal, Smash. I did it. See, I did it again. I knew it. But it was one of those. So, all right, you want to see the next fun card?
Yeah.
This one's a little creepy. Like this one definitely has some like oops creepy vibes.
Yeah, this is weird. Honestly, the reviled cards are pretty like gruesome-esque. I know this was something that was like even brought up.
Like, look at the flavor text. The flavor text has
keynote.
like cuss words in it technically.
Oh no, I didn't even see that. Wow. Ooh. That's cool. I like this. I mean, I like creepy card art too, so like it is neat. But it is what a name. Do you see this guy's name?
Bugger Grimes, Baleful Horde. I know. I wasn't gonna.
What in the world? That's so crazy.
Look, I've said it before. I've said it before, and I love flavor text. So one of the first things I noticed was on this card the flavor text, and I was like, "What the f is happening here?
What the bugger is happening?"
Bugger Grimes.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I don't, I mean, obviously this card's a rare. It's very like specific. I think what's cool though is that you need to control one of these tokens to get the +1 value, but you need to just hit to create 2 tokens, which is pretty cool. And also notably, you're creating a confidence token on a reviled Guardian. So Lyeth is going to be able to get a confidence token as well as a might token. So if you thought that ladies having the confidence tokens was bad enough, having a hero that allows themselves to like have 5 intellect and also be able to really bring up the power of a card is going to be even more. So
I love that this guy's mother is literally Motherfugger.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Golly.
All right, next up.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got the beefiest of the beefies, the Old Leather and Vim. This is
Cool.
This is a chunky, like I'm assuming goblin or something with the ears.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks like just a large character, but the effect same thing as the other ones. I think all of these are going to be the same effect effectively. Is just if you control a token, you get +1. If you hit, you get both. So
offensive
behavior.
behavior.
This is crazy. Like this card looks crazy. I love this.
Yeah, so my theory about the whole reviled art. So for that card, and then the new Majestic, the 3 for 6 on the Majestic one,
right?
It like for the artwork for those makes me think like they're like possessed in some way. So like when you look at Lyeth and his artwork, and you're looking at him in the trailer, like they've all had these like red eyes, and it makes me think that Lyeth has done some sort of deal with a demon that either wants gold, or like he's done some sort of deal with this demon, and he's able to control these reviled heroes in some way. So he's kind of like in the trailer, he's like imposed over top of the arena, kind of like a puppet master pulling all the strings. So I just think like there's something going on in the lore there where he's controlling these characters, and there's some stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, very well could be something along the lines, because like that's kind of where I was at with like KO. Like I wouldn't expect KO to be like an inherently evil individual. Like he's probably just really good at fighting because that's all he knows. Whereas like
I was
Lyeth
born
is definitely
in the
like,
pits.
I would like to just do some like crazy shenanigans in which like I cheat like my family cheats, and we're going to continue to do that. And so I don't know. I mean, that could explain why like KO is also considered a reviled hero. But I don't know. We'll just have to see what lore comes out for that.
All right, we also got 4 pieces of equipment here. They are generic, so this is kind of neat. The first one's probably the funniest. Toby Jugs. It looks like there are some feet coming out of a barrel, but the feet also might be part of the barrel. I'm not really sure. It could be Victor's feet. It could be.
No, that's Toby Jugs.
I'm making a bad horse joke. Sorry.
That's that guy's name is Toby Jugs. That's my goat. That's my goat, Toby Jugs. Also, you're realizing now, I didn't ever actually get to read what these cards did. When this defends, you may pay a resource. If you do, it gets +2 this turn.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't this freaking
Ironhide?
Yeah, Ironhide.
It's a fixed version of Ironhide, I think.
Oh, it's the same one. It's the same effect. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't have to dig card.
Somebody used the word
Ironhide legs.
Somebody used
Ironhide
the word.
legs read, when you defend with Ironhide legs, you may pay a resource. If you do, it gets +2, and when the combat chain closes, destroy Ironhide legs.
So the combat chain is different than until this turn, because the combat chain, if you were to break the chain, it would disappear. This turn means that, well, I guess when the combat chain closes, it's defended. So it would be the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is just worded better Ironhide legs. But it's the same effect. It's still generic legs that come in for 0, and you pay a resource to give them +2.
So we got punching gloves. Where's my generic weapon? It'd be kind of funny. This should have been a weapon, in my opinion. Just, the fisticuffs as a weapon. Generic, like punch your opponent.
Yeah, this is what a slightly different Goliath gauntlet. So if we pay 2 to do it for any attack, so it opens up the possibility for any kind of other hero. Versus Goliath Gauntlet, let's just crack it and give +2 to an attack, a bigger attack. So, yeah, I like it. It's one of those other new sideways designs.
I do like the photo on this one, the Garland of Spring.
Mm-hmm.
It's
just Blossom of Spring.
It's another version of Blossom of Spring.
But that's also notably cool because this is for the record, these equipment pieces here are going to be cold foil micro text box versions of themselves in the pre-release kit. So pretty cool that's going to be the case. So I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. This is an interesting card, I think.
The art on this is so hard. Like, this is going to be, like, this card, the artwork makes me feel like the next set is going to be some sort of shaman or, like, well, not next set, but something is going to at some point be this class, and it's just, like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, we get, like, a shaman class or something, and maybe if we go
Beastmaster!
Yeah, Beastmaster, that would be really neat. And we got this thing, I think this has got some like kind of cool combo potential, maybe even for Wizard. Well, you get an attack action card, so you could get maybe your Nourishing Emptiness back out of your graveyard, so you could play it again for a second time. So that's kind of interesting. Or just go get a key combo attack action card. So I like
I mean, this effectively just says. It doesn't say yawn, I'll tell you that much. It says pay 3, you can put like Felling of the Crown back on top of your deck. Or it says like pay 3, you can put Command and Conquer on the top of your deck. Oakenold on top of your deck. Yeah, like you can just choose whatever and bring it back. Now, notably, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think this card sees play in CC. But commoner and
really good budget option.
Yeah, it'll be good.
It's good.
I think it's pretty good to see.
So if we kind of switch gears now into Pro Tour Singapore with the live blog piece, we've covered a majority of the, I guess, opening, but we didn't really talk too much about. I guess there's a bunch of things that are for sale. There's a bunch of Weta Workshop.
Oh my gosh!
items.
You guys see the keychains?
Yeah, those
are so cool.
It's weird. There's only 3 of them, like instead of all 4. I don't know why Dawnblade's not in there, but
yeah, Dawnblade certainly should have had one. I don't know why they didn't, but
no Kodachi for my Katsu boy.
Yeah, no Kodachi.
So the Prism statue's for sale. It's like almost $10,000 I did the conversion on that. It's kind of expected. If you look at the top of the live blog stuff, they talk about the next Pro Tours where there's going to be the Yokohama, Japan. Then the Pro Quest will also be in Yokohama. Looks like Hong Kong's coming up. Philadelphia. It's going to be a Living Legend. And then the really weird thing they ended on, which was the whole Silver Age. Actually, Alex, that's what you did a video on that earlier. where you were basically playing the final, walk-off words of James White, and the crowd went freaking nuts. Like,
yeah. I think it's moving directly into the Silver Age stuff. It is. I think there was a lot. This might actually just genuinely be a lot of confusion, and it might not even be exactly what we think it is, because I was of the assumption that because they were talking about Project Blue, this is what Project Blue is turning into, is the Silver Age, which is more than likely going to be the new name for the format of Project Blue. The thing a lot of other people tend to take away from that is Icelander's coming back. Here's all the things we did to test whether or not Icelander would be a problem in the format, and now we get Icelander 2.0, and so she's coming back in this set, and that's exactly what's going to be. And so we don't know anything. I would be really upset if all of this talk happened with Project Blue and then they were like, it was not ever to be a format. We were testing whether or not a hero was going to be okay. And I'd be like, all right, that's kind of silly, but it is it is really interesting. I do hope that it is obviously a new their way of telling us that it is in fact moving into a new stage of testing, and that we're going to learn more. Obviously, it's not until 2026, and when, right, is the other thing. But
yeah, 2026 is an entire year, right? Like we're still we're still 5 months away from the end of this year. We got Gen Con coming up. That's going to be a real banger. There's going to be a lot going on there. I'm already working out at several conversations. I need to email LSS and see if I can get pre-permission to do like an interview with them. Like last year, just kind of walked up and said, "Hey, I want to do this," but I'm assuming they're gonna be Super Slam this year, and I want to see if I can like set something up in advance, because that I kind of want to do like a year in review of like, hey, this is your second Gen Con. You've been to other events. I mean, they'll be coming right off the back of going to, SCG, out or not SCG cons, San Diego Comic Con. Yeah. And I mean, they got a whole Weta Workshop thing going out there with like a life-size prism. Like, holy crap! I mean, they may even bring that to Gen Con. I don't know. I mean, I hope they do. That'd be wild to see in person. So,
yeah, there's supposed to be some sort of special announcement at San Diego Comic Con with the Weta Workshop. So that's going to be interesting to see here at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I believe in that like a week, because that it goes. Like Origins happened, they didn't go to Origins. We got San Diego Comic Con, which I think we got Singapore right now. Then I think this next weekend, not this week. This weekend is this weekend is Singapore. Next weekend is
San
Diego Comic Con. The weekend after that is Gen Con. Like, it's 3 back-to-back banger weeks. Like, just hold no bar, just give information down your throat kind of a thing. So yeah. We talked about Frankie already. I don't, unless you got any other info on that. I mean, that was kind of pretty much just rocking cool and cosplay to your heart's content. Talked about Silver. Go ahead.
Age. I think my theory is that, to me, Silver Age kind of notates like a history of, or a time period of Flesh and Blood, and then putting Icelander as like the face of that. I'm really kind of more inclined to think that maybe this Project Blue Silver Age is, maybe they're starting whatever the legality of the set is from basically Flesh and Blood 2.0, which would be like Uprising on forward. Maybe they're saying like, we're going to start this new format, and all the heroes from Uprising, which would be they considered Fab 2.0 forward, are going to be the legal heroes starting out, and this is where we're going to start this new format.
Well, and that was something I had thought of as well. But if you also compare this to Magic the Gathering, which is, I know people hate to do that, but there's 3 ages. Golden, Silver, and Bronze is what they used to refer to them as. So I'm kind of curious if this is, in a weird way, looking at the Golden Age of Magic was from Alpha to Onslaught. So that was like the really early years. The Bronze Age is the later, but the Silver Age is like the middle, which is in 8th edition to Mirrodin. So like in our case, like you said, 2.0 up, and I could see there being a parallel there, probably.
I don't entirely know that it was a test to see whether or not this was something to do, strictly because there were so many cards in the format that were banned that were from 2.0 product. Initially, if that is something that they're doing, is moving into that form, right? 2.0 is, still Deadwood Dirge being banned. There is a significant amount of, Waning Moon being banned. There are cards that are banned from 2.0, and notably, if they were to ban all things from 1.0 and that was like their key thing, I would imagine that was more prevalent in their initial testing, to be like, let's ban all the 1.0 cards and just play a format with 2.0 cards. But the takeaway from the creation of the format was not so much that it was a restriction on the deck into what it could play based on that budget, on that ban list, but more so directly because it was based around budget. And I think they would be doing nothing to help the format at all by removing the 1.0 heroes from a budget game or a budget format, because it's not about there are not heroes in 1.0 that win over all other heroes. I mean, they effectively cut all cards that were good in Chain, got rid of that. Terra, a new hero, is the one who just won the recent Project Blue event. You've got Phi, who did very well, and also Azalea. Like, there's a lot more to the format than just like what exists within it. And I think that if they took something like 2.0 and then made it from 2.0, like Uprising until now, and then made it a young hero format and then only limited to rares and commons, I don't feel like it does anything to, like, the 1.0 stuff isn't so powerful that it needs to go away. I think that more people are actually hoping for a, even just Sink Below to be available in the format, because Pummel exists.
Sure.
You can still play cards like Unmovable. Unmovable wasn't banned in the format. You've got cards like Springboard Somersault, which weren't banned in the format. So I don't entirely know that it's going to be anything in regards to like siloing a certain amount of product and then also making it a young hero format, because let's be honest, most people don't play young hero formats around their biggest audience being the States. So I don't know that I think it would be a big curveball, and frankly would probably turn a lot of eyes away from the format if that ended up being the case there.
Well, let's move to the second to last topic of the night. Ben had brought up that I guess Star City already has their product out, and very notably, apparently this time there is no promo, unlike High Seas that had the cogs.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure what the plan is with all that there. I would imagine they maybe just don't know if there's a promo, but I also don't know that they'd probably accept a pre-order yet. At least, like, I don't know whether or not this maybe have just been something they're not aware of at the moment, but it is, it is what it is, I guess, as far as people wanting to buy it right now. I don't know that you'd buy it specifically through Star City Games if you weren't going to get anything specific for it.
Right.
So,
to me, like,
yeah.
Why so soon? And because usually we don't get the Star City Games pre-orders for like a couple weeks before product launches, kind of how it's been historically. So this one to me is very strange, and the fact promo either is just like, what?
Well, in Guardian Pack Mastery, do they even have that? I guess I'm gonna look, because I actually don't know if they have Guardian Pack Mastery out at SCG Con. Now I need to know. Now I must go find out.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably something that maybe they're not. I mean, who knows, right? Maybe they were not provided a promo to give for these here. I mean, that is up to LSS to make those decisions. It's not like Star City Games, goes out and asks LSS and said, we need a promo for our product in order for it to sell.
By the way, you get I got to show you this. I know it's going to show backwards for you, but it's right for the camera. if you get the Guardian Pack Mastery, you get a case of 8 for $400. You get that same the copper cog.
The copper cog.
Yeah, looks like they're passing that promo out with the Guardian Pack Mastery boxes. So
crazy
that people are selling that right now. I mean, Ben, you had a couple of them. If anybody bid on your pricing?
Oh no, not yet. So just kind of holding on to them.
I mean, I'd probably pick one up for like 50. I value that card probably like about the 40 or 50 buck range in my head, but I'm sure people value it maybe more. But either way, I mean, even if you think about it, if you're getting 8 boxes at for $400, that's not terrible.
If you're not getting the same amount of cards, that's kind of the whole thing. So you're getting what is it? It's literally just.
It's like it'd be the equivalent. I mean, you're getting 10, one rare Majestic, 9 commons,
packs.
1 equipment. Yeah, so it's
12 packs in a box, though, right?
It is correct? 12. So technically, it is
Yeah.
the entirety of a booster case. It would be 8 boxes is the same as a booster case, but you're getting a different quantity of cards in the pack instead of getting the 13, 14, 15. You're getting 12.
You're buying 8. You're buying like 8 archive boxes for.
Yeah.
What it effectively come out to be is like half the cost of a box of draftable product. And so that's why like 8 looks to be correct, because you're getting more boxes, but they're half the amount of packs that would normally be in a box.
I would go in on doing this probably, and then I would just maybe ask our locals, hey, I'm assuming the store is going to get some probably, but at the same token, I want to, every time you want to play the Smash Palace, if you want new cards, you'll need a box. So this is like 8 attempts at playing Smash Palace, or 8 attempts at playing, Crack Shuffle Play Guardian Pack Mastery. So there's kind of, and this comes into where I'm starting to 3D print, like for us and our locals, these are like reusable card sleeves, like there's Cubamajigs, Thingamajigs, but like I found some files, so I'm starting to make things like this so that I can just say, okay, let's take those cards when we're done, let's put them back in here, and we can get more bang for buck long term out of stuff like that. That's a thing.
Nice.
Yeah, then that's honestly, I expect more people to be doing that than to be buying product, because it's only for a specific class, and it's only really like Valda specific support in some cases that we can tell. And so if you really want the Valda stuff and you really care about the seismic surge, or like maybe you really like some of the art that comes in the set, right? Those seismic surge tokens or any of those like, old one cards, those are cool. But if you don't care about any of that, that product's going to sit on the shelf, because let's be honest, most of the player base is not going to be playing Smash Palace. And if they do play Smash Palace, they're probably playing Smash Palace because it's a budget option for them to play a multiplayer format of Flesh and Blood, in which the person owning Smash Palace will probably just do exactly that, where they'll recreate the cracking experience with the cards that they already have, put them into a little, Cubamajig thing, and then hand them out to everybody the next time they play to see if they're getting something different. Because that's just, it's one, it's cost effective, and two, it, the iterations you can do with your deck are still pretty high. If you're trying to make it all, because it's all like crack, shuffle, play, put stuff together and make it happen. So I don't expect it to be something in which like cases upon cases of this are going to sell. I know out here in Colorado, we got asked, one of our local sellers got asked, what the interest is in Mastery Pack Guardian, and it was crickets, because like we just can't, like, it's not anything that's going to stay around for a really long time, and frankly, I don't know that any store wants to keep a lot of it, unless of course it turns out that inside Mastery Pack Guardian there's a one of one signed ultimate artist proof Valda thing, and then there's collectability to it. But frankly, a lot of it is just going to be, are the cards going to be playable? Sure, in Valda probably, and maybe not any other heroes, and then at that point it's probably a miss for most people. I mean, that's what we're hearing with most of the stuff for Super Slam right now, is that people who don't care about Brutes and don't care about Guardian probably are going to be skipping the set, because they don't care about the classes. They don't care about new talents for those classes, because it's not going to It's just not their play style.
And that is the most important message that I believe is needing to be propagated, is that while Flesh and Blood on the whole is a great game and there are a lot of things you can do, every set is not necessarily something you're going to want. Again, Matt, the gentleman who was on last episode, absolutely despises high seas because of the comedicness of the names and several other factors involving with that. But like, he is all on board for the next set, this Super Slam. I'm kind of on the fence. I think it's going to be interesting. Will I get the pre-release kit? Absolutely, because that is a brand new style of product. I want to absolutely have one of those sealed for my collection, because I'm still doing my sealed collection stuff, which I'm a freaking weirdo for doing, I guess. But I have that as an idea. I want to still experience these, right? It would be fun to take several of these, go to a coffee shop or go to a bar where I can drink, and we just rip them and have a freaking blast, because that's something I've been wanting to do for a long time and can't really do because the way stuff works today for the pre-release kits, that's just not a thing. So the experience I can have and the joy of drinking, that sounds like I'm an alcoholic. That's not exactly where I was trying to go with that, but like to be able to imbibe and also be able to play would be fantastic. So I look at this product like it scratches a lot of itches. It fixes, I don't want to say a lot of problems because there's not really a problem, but it also changes the dichotomy of, also, we mentioned this another time, I don't know if you were on for this one, but it gets rid of the feels bad of, oh, you opened the legendary, and oh, you opened the cold foil, and oh, you opened 6 Majestics. Looks like I just got a pile of bulk, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
And for $50.
Yep. That's why I like it. I do think because it removes that volatility of it being like, okay, cool, we know generally based on the percentages of cards pulled in a box that 3 people share a box for pre-release because it's 8 packs a box, or it's 8 packs for pre-release, which means 3 people get to use the same box worth of cards. Some stores shuffle them, right, to be like, okay, cool, they just dump out all these boxes and then shuffle all the packs together, and that's cool. I don't know too many that do, but I know that that's a thing you can do, but this effectively just like cuts that all out. And it's just like, you don't have to worry about your box was shared with another individual who got like 3 Marvels in their entire set and you didn't get anything because you happened to get the 8 packs that had the bulk in them and nothing else.
Yep.
So that's I like the fact they have it. I like the fact that it comes with the pre-release actual pack, which contains, I like that they're doing all 4 generic pieces of equipment in cold foil in those. They did them in high seas. They're doing them from here. They're even giving out cold foil versions of these powerful super rares, the ones that we had talked about in regards to if you have one of these tokens, you get +1, and then if it hits, you get X amount of thing. That's
not this article, is it? Because this is the main Super Slam article.
So this is the one that if you go to the keynote summary, the Singapore keynote summary.
Gotcha. It's within that. Okay.
Yeah, not this one here. Scroll up. It should be that one right there. Scroll down.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit more.
It's in here. You go. Yeah.
Right there. So it shows
also,
that you get a
finding articles sometimes can be a giant pain in the butt.
But I'm happy that it's got everything here. Obviously, we still don't know if it's going to come with anything such as dice or whatever, but I'd imagine they probably would have put it here if it was. But who knows, right? There could be cardboard inserts. I know that was something that was opted out of talking about with the Smash Palace product until it was brought up in conversation during an interview, and James White's like, I don't know if you know, but it's a 4-person open playmat kind of deal. You're able to get this whole thing set up. So who knows what's in there, but I do like that they've added all this in here. You get your 8 packs on top of it as well. And if you and your buddy, even if it's just 2 people, you open up a box and you're like, cool, we didn't need to buy a whole box. We just get a kit, play it at our house, and jam some games.
I'm becoming a fan of accessories. So I was playing Puffin yesterday, and I needed my once, twice, thrice thing. I think I kind of demoed that at one point maybe, but I finally I finally perfected it, so I have 3 little circles that I know I'm not really showing this very well, but like it was tracking metrics. And then I got bored because there's a lot of things like you have to make sure that stuff is tapped. So I was doing crap like that, and then I remade Steam counters. These are all 3D prints that I was doing. So I might be doing the same thing for some of these because tracking on the board is becoming critical, like absolutely super important to know the state of what things are doing what.
Yeah, it is important. I mean, I've gotten to the point now where, like, you know, initially, like I said previously, you know, if you activated the ability of a card, even if it was like your weapon or something, you oftentimes would just tap it to let the opponent know that you have activated it, or, you know, you or something of the sort to do it. And I used to do that with flick knives in order to make sure that people knew that flick knives was that I am activating flick knives and that I am attempting to flick this knife at you. But you cannot tap your stuff anymore if it does not have a tap symbol. You cannot. It is not. Nothing you can do to tap it.
And so
so what I have to do instead is I have to take that flick knives, bring it up into the combat chain, and then put it underneath the attack that I'm attacking with to say, hey, by the way, this attack is when I activated my flick knives, so you know when this triggered.
And that's why I want to make one of these that says like activated or something, just a generic. Like I want to make it as generic as possible. Like I made the Steam counters, you know, or this because I was playing mech stuff, but like I feel like I want to make something that's like, well, triggered maybe is the better, because it'd be a trigger, wouldn't it, or it would be activated? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's an action. I mean it's a once per turn action. You can trigger it kind of, but the board presence is really important. You know, if you forget to untap something at the end of your turn and you go into your opponent's next turn, they're already started their action, like, oh shit, I forgot to untap. Like, that's on you.
Just like your tunic counter.
You need to make sure to know when to untap it.
Gotta put your stupid tunic counter on your tunic. Yep. Don't forget.
So it is important. You need to make sure to do that. And so it's I do think that especially the Heroes from High Seas, it's become a lot more board oriented. You have to check where your stuff is. I mean, like, even when I'm playing Vincent, you know, it's like, okay, cool, this makes rune chance and this makes rune chance, but notably the rune chance that I'm attempting to hit you with are not the same rune chance that were just created from Malefic Incantation. So I have to represent that with a separate rune chant token off to the side to let you know these are not the rune chants that are coming at you right now. These are rune chants that are in the back end, so that way when it hit, you know, when I move to my next attack, you know that these are also going to be coming at you. And so there's a lot to keep in mind as far as that goes. But
well, I wanna finish out the podcast with, I think, the most interesting thing for us as a group, and that is none other than this content creator grants with the $25,000 up for grabs for 5 creators at $5K a piece. Now, on the surface, I do want to say something funny. $25,000 sounds like a lot, but have you ever looked at camera equipment? that doesn't go very far.
I was like, damn, 5K. If I got buy one camera, and then that's it. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, in all reality, at least from my perspective, these are utilized as upgrades, right? So instead of me utilizing this webcam here, I can instead get a nice, like, you know, $700 DSLR camera or something, and I can buy a whole bunch of stuff such as like new lights and new equipment, new microphones, DJI like mics or whatever. And I think I could make an upgrade to doing stuff on Talishar to then doing stuff in person. Yep. I could probably do it with like 3K.
So I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here, but like, as an example, if I could nominate somebody, I would nominate somebody like you, right? As much as I would love to just randomly get handed $5,000 to be like, sure, let's upgrade stuff. You know how much freaking tech I already have? Like, I make jokes about how complex my setup already is. Like, I have lights, I have microphones, I have camera equipment, but I've been building that over the course of, 10, 15 years, right? Some of this stuff is like, some of the lenses, actually the lens that's on the main camera I'm pointing at, came from my parents doing photography back in the 80s, and that same lens type still works on the newer digital cameras. Anyways, so I am not the target audience, I think, for something like this. But as an example,
so it's not entirely true though, because it's not just for gear. I mean, $5,000 can go towards, getting you to go to events to do to be able to do things such as perform interviews. It could even be so much as being able to learn how to, if you've ever deep dive course on DaVinci Resolve or something, or to purchase new editing software, or to go about, even if it's so much as using that $5,000 to make 3D printed product for Flesh and Blood to have for people to give out, so that way you have like more of a connection with the community based on that. Like $5,000, most people are probably going to spend it on tech, because most people are doing most of their stuff off of the bare bones basic of their computer and a shitty ring light that is way too bright. Anytime I change the contrast or of anything of my camera, it always adjusts itself to also be like that. There are things that like tech can help with, right? And I do think a lot of people, a lot of content creators, whenever they're doing stuff for Flesh and Blood, they want to see gameplay. They want to do gameplay stuff, and gameplay normally defaults to Talishar, because I don't have to spend any money at all in order for me to go online, queue up a game.
Have you looked at the amount of effort? Like, okay, Tolarian Academy, Professor,
Tolarian Community College.
Tolarian Community College.
Yep.
Have you actually looked at some of the behind the scenes when he has that set up? Like, his ceiling has like 6 or 7 microphones that are all like $800 to $900 a piece. He has 6 to 7 cameras that are all like $1,000 a body with 8 lenses that are it's just like that setup is fantastic. That's why they're able to produce such really good things. And it's like also holy crap, that's a really expensive setup. I was watching a Star Wars release by FFG, and they have a very interesting table. It's designed to be the perspective of you with the camera sitting at the table, but the actual design of the table is actually more like a cascading like square V. So when I'm sitting here, the table would actually go out this direction, and it would look from the perspective of the camera that you are sitting at the table, and the people that are sitting at those angles are actually sitting straight at the table. It's the wildest design. But like when you think of stuff like that, that would make gameplay videos much more interesting. Like you could have those two people sitting across from each other playing. It would look, the perspective would be correct. You could also do it. Yeah, there's so many, now that you say that, you don't have to spend it directly on tech. Yeah. There's a lot of things you could do. I mean, hell, that's the biggest reason I stopped doing interviews, is not because I couldn't travel. I mean, outside of the US, my passport's screwed up, but like, I mean, not screwed. I just don't know where it is. It's lost. It's in a card box. That's the baddest joke I could say, but it's the truth. It is literally in this house somewhere. Don't know where it is. I just got to get a new one. But like, yeah, I stopped going because, I mean, shit, just going to Baltimore. I mean, just knowing I wasn't going to participate for anything, I think that was like a $3,000 trip just for me to like drive out there, get the hotel. Now, don't get me wrong, the memories were freaking phenomenal. Like, I got to meet Sloop. I got to meet Tall Timmy, Rudy, Saint. Like, I mean, there were so many people that were out there that like I got to like just interact with. But like that was an expensive experience for just being an experience.
I think it comes down to like if it's something that's what it would take is $5,000. To be fair, I mean, like in a situation like that, I don't know would go to somebody to be able to spend $5,000 on one trip to go to a place, right? To be able to,
that seems extreme.
Like this needs to be a more consistent deal. But even if it helps a little bit, right? Even if it's like $500 extra to get you towards an Airbnb, so you can go to more even just somewhat out of state events. Even if it's just in the Midwest. I mean, obviously, like Chicago's always doing a whole bunch of stuff up there, and then Milwaukee. Like, there are plenty of opportunities to go up there. You have all the stuff at Gen Con that you want to do, and so there's opportunities to do it for sure. But I do think it's important that it doesn't all have to be tech. Most people, like I said, most people who get a grant like this, I know myself, most of it is going towards tech, because I'd much rather get a DSLR camera, something that I can utilize along with my setup now to have a face cam and also a down pointed camera, getting another webcam, so that way when I set up against another computer, I can have one for me and then one for my opponent whenever I'm doing any kind of budget gameplay in person. I just invite some locals over. we have a couple, beers and eat pizza and then just record some stuff. And then
I mean, I'd suggest something like this.
Computer.
This is just a Handycam Sony 4K. I bought this one used, but like, other than the fact that like it's probably 6 to 7 years old, this camera can do a wide variety of stuff. And the biggest thing about this one is it has HDMI out. So because I like to do a lot of the ATEM stuff, I can still hook this up and technically record. So there are plenty of options, and that's something I guess I'll offer to any content creator out there. I mean, I don't know it all, but I mean, I'll help if you have questions on some gear. I mean, I'm all for chatting tech. I enjoy technology. I think there was a group at one point that I think got started that was I don't know, I made a bad joke and I think I got kicked out of it, but it was I think it was supposed to be designed to like help people with technology. So anyways, but
yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it comes down to it, like, I certainly want to make sure I'm doing my research on product that I would get if I were to get something like this. But more importantly, I mean, I think it's also notable that they're not just going to be giving this out to anybody who happens to be doing flesh and blood content. It more than likely, it has to be something very unique in how they do it. Creativity and originality is one of the key factors for being able to apply for something like this. So I don't know whether or not even just my own personal focus on budget formats is enough, because at the end of the day, gameplay is probably one of the biggest things about Flesh and Blood. It's what people want to see the most of. And so honestly, if I can elevate that to be able to be a little bit more in person and not doing Talishar, because I hate doing Talishar stuff, I'd much rather do it in person. And so information like that would be able to let me to upgrade my computer, maybe even buy a separate computer specifically for doing this content. That way I don't have to lug my home computer around everywhere if I'm going to be doing anything. I can create a separate setup directly related to how I want to do everything there. Maybe a really powerful laptop, some powerful, stuff there, a MacBook or whatever, and start doing things on those fronts, because that will allow me to do many more things on the go. If I wanted to go to an LGS and do this, maybe start recording some of our locals and their CC games whenever we're at an armory that I can't make. If I'm able to show up and just be like, cool, round 2 just started, let me hook this up real quick, bing bang boom, lighting's good, here's your mics, or no mics, you don't even need mics, just here you go, enjoy your content. And like, this is what Flesh and Blood's gonna be all about here.
And I want to start doing that with our locals too, where I there's some people that don't want to be on camera, and I'm okay with, I mean, that's their prerogative. But I think there are also others that want to do that. And I believe, depending on which store, I know Grandmaster, I think technically has an area that we could set some stuff up in. But it would be really neat to do some actual in-play overhead game style stuff. And that's, I really wanted to focus on trying to get some UPF content at some point, because again, that kind of goes back to the, Brian's version of those, Professor, I don't even know why I'm having such a hard time remembering the name of that series. I haven't watched Magic content in so long now, but
it's Shuffle Up and Play.
Shuffle Up and Play. Stuff. Yeah. And it's like that editing style, and that is just so good. Like, it's engaging, it's fun.
And that takes a lot, though. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, I mean, genuinely, I don't even know that with any of that. I mean, it helps, obviously, but something like that it's the reason why, at least specifically in his scenario, is why there is a fundraiser for it before a new season begins, is because he wants to know that the people who are watching his content want this new season, and that any assistance to help bring the season to life will be met with, a reward of whatever tier you're helping with or whatever need be, and effectively just kickstarting a whole season of the stuff.
Well, and 3 floating,
if it ends up being something that people want to do, it's good.
I mean, three floating spends a shit ton of time probably editing. I mean, God, just knowing how editing functions, like, they're definitely having to spend a lot of time. I mean, I have a couple of Premiere things that I was trying to figure out, and I'm going to cancel my Premiere soon because I'm getting real tired of the Adobe world. But like, DaVinci as an example, I'm still struggling to learn that one for some reason. But there was some like card on card like action where like you bring a card up and it would flip around and it would do this cool effect. And I have a buddy that was like a genius with how to do that. And I guess technically DaVinci Resolve has something called Fusion, which does similar stuff, but it's just there's a million ways to do the same thing, and it's just what can you do in a time frame. And that's actually, I mean, I think I've said this before, but that's one of the reasons I stopped making highly edited content. Is I was spending 16 hours to make a 10-minute video that would get 60 people to watch it, and I was happy I got 60 people, but like the proportion of the audience to the time put in was just not at my size.
Well, and notably what you can also do is, of course, if you are planning on doing something in which you are fine recording the content, but you can't physically make the time to learn something about an editing software, you can use that money to hire an editor. You can also, in the same vein, I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to make that happen, where it's just like, if somebody else is available to do it, you can hire them on to make that happen. You can also utilize, I'm not sure if this option is available for your channel just yet, but you can just quite literally put money to YouTube, and YouTube will say, we'll advertise this video for this amount of times to help push the numbers for the video to get it to more eyes. If it's struggling with advertising, you can use that money to help for advertising. You can use that money to help build Discord bots to help grow your own community. You can do things like, there are thousands of things you can do with $5,000. That isn't just like, okay, like small little things. Like if it means like, okay, I get to go ahead and take, I get to pay my editor. If I have an editor, I can be like, cool, that's a whole concept of this that I can just shut out the window. I can go, here, editor, you know what I want out of this video. I'm giving you this data.
And you get to focus on what you do best, which is the content. Right.
Exactly. Right. Like a content creator is one thing. A content editor is also another cool you can have, but it's another skill you can have. And if you have no money to pay an editor, then it makes sense why you would go about learning how to edit yourself.
I mean, that's where I think SloopDube shines. He did a lot of that learning on his own, it sounds like, and he's making some pretty good.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like SloopDube that's a specific example of somebody who does not produce daily content, right? His content comes out like once a month, maybe twice a month. He'll make a video, and it's because he has to put so much effort into editing the same video and it takes a long time. And so people who expect there to be this daily content, they shell out this Talishar content because it is easy to do. You don't need to really edit any of it at all. You essentially just go, okay, cool, did we get into our match? Awesome, big bam, like now we're good. We don't have to edit that entire game, and then end the video. Like it's incredibly simple. I mean, I know that I do it from summary of the commoner video or the Project Blue video or whatever it might be of the deck that I'm using, and then I'll go, okay, get into the game. And the second I'm in DaVinci and we get to that game portion, I'm done editing all the beginning stuff. It's literally just, this is where the game starts, this is where the game ends, cut out the rest of it, edit, finish it up, export it, done. And it's quick to do because it is quick, low effort videos to put out. It's certainly not slop, but it is something that is happening so frequently that a lot of people will just do deck tech, Talishar game, and video. And that is something that has been like that for forever. Some people do comedic timing in those things. Maybe they add a little bit of like flair or deeper development into why this line worked the way it did and how they would have changed it if it was something different. But overall, base level, it's still just, here's a Talishar game. Like, we're able to get a Talishar game together. Whereas I think that more people playing in person, in the flesh and blood, is something that I think LSS would like to see more of, and especially with these more budget formats, which is why that's kind of what would happen if I were to get anything there. But that's it's available for everybody. I mean, that's kind of the thing, is that if it came down to the point of like, I love making content, I would make daily content if it meant I could hire it. That's what they want, right? That's enough for LSS to be like, okay, we enjoy the content you're making right now. If you can tell us that this would become more, up-leveled in the way that, or leveled up in the way that we would expect of a content creator that we support, here's $5,000. Like, you can do whatever you need with it. So, and that's kind of the best part about it, is that there is so many avenues to use it.
It doesn't sound like this is a one and done thing either. I mean, it sounds like this is also possibly going to be a recurring thing to help, others. I mean, it's a whole wide world out there. It's not just the United States. I mean, there are probably people that in other sections that,
Pokemon does this. They have an ambassador program.
Who does?
Magic does it too.
Oh, really?
Pokemon.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Program.
They do. I mean, Magic does it. Magic is their big thing. They do ambassadorships for their new sets. So they choose content creators to be ambassadors for the set that comes out. They proceed to send them a whole bunch of product to open as part of content. They give them a free VIP badge to go to any of the Magic Con that are coming up for that set. And it's really just like find housing and you're find room and board and you're pretty much good to go. But that's, I mean, the fact that this is something that is being offered. I know it was brought up on DM Armada's video, I think recently, where he talked about the keynote, in which apparently, and this was unbeknownst to me, I always assumed that there was a big no on selling your promos that you'd get if you were a content creator, that you'd get if you were so for instance, if you got anyone willing a card, or even if you got one for their Christmas event, like I got all those scarves. I was under the assumption, at least just not because LSS has told me this, but because I was just of the understanding that selling these cards was kind of not the purpose for it. But that was effectively this beforehand. LSS sends those out because they're just like, we appreciate the work you do. However you want to utilize these cards, do it. You can sell them if you really need to sell them. If that's a thing you can do. If you want to give them out to people who have been supporting you for a really long time, like only your channel members and nobody else, you can do that. And so that's when finding that out, it's like this is
speaking of channel members, by the way, we actually, I guess, Geeks First has technically a one channel member. So thank you.
Let's go.
Appreciate you.
Go.
You are the first. Congratulations. We're growing leaps and bounds here. Yep.
Who is it?
Let's get the name. Hold on.
You have to legally say their name now.
Hold on. I has to go into the profile thingy to find it, don't I? So I have to go down here. I was actually buried. It's ridiculously hard to find this information because I didn't know. Well, for somebody that's a noob to figuring this out.
I don't know.
Jonathan Bowers. There we go.
That's my boy. Yeah. That's my boy. He's a channel member on my. So
well, thank you for dual supporting us because I appreciate that.
My boy.
So we I feel like I feel like we definitely pour a lot of heart and soul into these things. I know sometimes it looks chaotic from the outside, but I mean, that's kind of the joy.
We love Fab. That's what we do. We love Fab. We talk about Fab. That's our thing.
Especially I think I said this to you, Alex, but we sit there and I mean, hell, after the armory, I mean, our group just will hang out. I mean, fuck, it was raining the other day, and the only reason we left is because none of us had raincoats on. It just started pouring, and we're like, we could stand outside and continue talking, but we're gonna get soaked by the end. So that was the only reason we disbanded it sooner than I mean, it's on average a 30-minute to an hour long just banter session. So yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. That's exactly what happened every armor. I tell you, if I go on Wednesdays to our armory, that's granted 30 people plus usually. By the time everybody's out, you'd expect people to be like, oh, okay, it's time to go home. It's already 11 o'clock at night, 30. We have to go home. It's tired. We all end up just standing in the parking lot for, I kid you not, maybe I don't know, an hour and a half more, or longer. And we just yap. It's just the after armory yap session is just effectively what we've called it. And so it's always, it happens at the end of every armory, no matter where I go to play armory, there is an parking lot yap session that occurs afterwards, always. And that just goes to show that you enjoy the company of the people you play with, and that the game brings you closer to individuals than just a opponent playing a card game.
Yep. So, and even when you get your butt wiped, Jake, next time I still
wiping your butt.
I still don't. Oh man, he cleaned the board with me, not in the metaphorical sense, but yeah, like you still have fun. You hang out with these people, and then you discuss ways to like tackle that deck, or like what can you tech into, or why is this sideboard thing like. I don't know. It's just it's good times. So, Ben, I know we've been chatting a lot. What do you got to say on this? I mean, we're kind of wrapping out of conversation here. I know we're kind of getting to the end, but what you got?
No, I agree with all that. We love just hanging around the parking lot just to talk, new deck strategies, or like, oh man, this is what I would have done differently had I known this, or, now, I'll tech my deck a little bit, tweak my sideboard a little bit better next time, and be more prepared. So yeah, it's just fun to talk strategies. It's going to get people's opinions that play outside of your class, or because like I usually look things through like my lens of the classes I play. So like I'm like, oh, did you ever think about trying this for your Guardian deck? Like I don't play Guardian, but like this sounds really cool. So just kind of sparking kind of new ideas, and just trying out different deck ideas. Like we yesterday we were talking about Pummel Ira, just like a silly meme deck, and just like you could just put all these 2-for-6s in, and make them breakpoint 7s and come over Pummel, and just have this really weird meme Ira deck. So like we just talk about all kinds of just funny, goofy stuff. So I think it's fun. But yeah, as far as the like content creatorship goes, like Jay, I think like you could absolutely use like money towards advertising, marketing, there's a lot of really good video content here already, so you could just step it up to that next level. Like you could use that money to make like an intro for your videos. Like you could make you could hire like a graphic designer to make like a logo for Geeks First, and then have like an intro, and maybe use that to buy like music. I don't know about licensing stuff, but
music is complicated, man. There's a whole royalty-free world of things you got to navigate and getting all the crap right, because copyright strikes on videos on YouTube really destroy you. Actually, you may have noticed this, but I no longer use that like the sea shanty thing that I had for a long time, because apparently that was some sort of copyrighted thing I didn't know about, even though I cut it from a royalty-free site that I swear I had years ago. And that actually took down 2 of my videos, and then I got a copyright strike, and I'm like, nope, I'm not using that shanty anymore. And I'm like, okay, this sucks. But I enjoy the tune. I still listen to it every once in a while, but it's just like, dang, that stinks. So yeah, I don't know. That's I don't know, more than you wanted to know probably, but that's just sadly the way somebody owns the music. It's like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is that now what you can do is you can just purchase you can purchase a song from a artist, and just be like, hey, I want you to make me a 2-minute song of X this. It could be just instrumental, or it could have vocals or whatever, and then I would like to keep the rights to that. And then there's the whole they create a document for it, like there's this whole thing. And obviously if you want to keep the rights, it's probably going to cost you a little bit more, but even still, I mean, there are probably several creators. I mean, there's an entire section of copyright-free music on YouTube, or not on YouTube, on Spotify, and it's somebody who did exactly that. They went on Fiverr and they said, "I want you to make me an album, right? I want you to make me an album of 20 songs, all like roughly 2 minutes long, that you could just like, it's just instrumental, it's just lo-fi music, and that's it. But I own the rights to it." And then the person who owns the rights can then go, all right, it's free for everybody to use. I don't want to, it's not about keeping a contract. You can then just say freely, I'm using this on my channel. If you were just like, Alex, I want you to also, you can also use this on your channel. You'd then be giving me the rights to go ahead and use that, in which then, obviously if there's some kind of discrepancy, you go over that. But in the situation there's plenty of things that you can do. So
I mean, that would be an interesting concept too, right? Like if whoever gets this, if they were to do something like that and say, hey, LSS has done such a bang up job with recently getting a lot of it used to be they didn't have all the cool flashy effects like the card flying and all their little graphic things that were flying and floating. Like that in the last 2 years, that really went from like almost non-existent to damn, like this is good. And they let you use most of that from what I understand. Like they're within some restrictions, they don't mind you putting those in videos, but like, I mean, even if a creator that gets this is like, hey, here's some fab specific, stuff that we made, here creators, you can use this, but don't like say it's yours, don't abuse it or whatever. Like that would be kind of interesting too to think. I mean, I don't want to say open source it, but like that's the computer world in me is like open source it. So like I don't know, that'd be kind of interesting too to see somebody kind of give back to the other creators and be like, here you go, here's some stuff, because then everybody could benefit from that same theoretical spend in some capacity, right? Like
if I took every hero art of Flesh and Blood heroes, adult and young, everyone to come out, and I went to an artist on Fiverr, and I said, hey, take this, cut out the hero. It's like $10 worth of work.
I think Sloop Dupe's already doing that, by the way.
Oh, right. I mean, like, I do it myself. I also do it if you wanted to do this, you could just make that, instantly make that whole library of any time a new hero comes out, you go, hey, here is $60, right? Cut out all of these heroes, young and adult, and then provide them back to me so that I could use them for thumbnails and add them to my archive. And then you could even have it where, like, you set up a channel membership or a Patreon to be like, are you also a content creator? You can pay me $5 a month and you get to utilize all of this from my own Google Doc as everything continues to go forward, right? So there are, I mean, the sky's the limit. I really think that it's really awesome that there is so much opportunity to utilize $5,000. Like I said, like, it's mainly going to be tech probably for most people, but even still, even if it's utilizing like making your own logo or making your own key art or like an intro video, like that's what, if you've watched any of my videos, you see that thing where the dragon's coming across the screen and it's got the logo in the middle of it, right? I paid $50 for that. Like, I paid money to a graphic designer on Fiverr and said, hey, I want this for my channel because I plan to do content and I would like something a little bit more professional. So that's just what you do. So
I told the wife to use Fiverr for, she's getting some dice designed. I actually never in a million years thought about trying to use it for my own, like trying to redo, because frankly I got a lot of work to do on, in my opinion, multiple things on my channel stuff. I mean your intro is pretty freaking sweet, but yeah, if Fiverr can do that, then shit, I need to look at Fiverr. I never thought of that. Like, that's pretty sweet. So
yeah, Fiverr can definitely do that. I definitely think that there are so many freelance artists out there and freelance designers that are just looking for, a quick $50 job to be like, cool, okay, like, yeah, you want this thing? Tell me what your specifications are. Most of the stuff on Fiverr, like, you're able to make edits. So like usually if you order like a $50 like sort of effect, right? My intro being $50, it wasn't just like, here's $50, here's what you get. You don't get to get any say in the final product. You get like 3 to 5 edits that you can make before like you finally have to be like, okay, is this more in depth? Or maybe I'm not just the designer for you. Like, obviously you could refund if that's the case, but in most cases, they want to make sure that you're taken care of and that's what you want out of them. So it's about doing research into, what specific style of art you're looking for. You can make emotes for your live streams. If you're trying to do any kind of live streams, you can make somebody does emote packs.
Yeah, look at this one. I just found I mean, that's kind of cute. I mean, look how much animation is for me to do for me to make that. Hours, weeks, days.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yep. That's why outsourcing something like this to somebody who is willing to do it because it is their passion and their job. Like, I'd much rather pay somebody who has that knowledge already. So they can get like a cut of this to be able to like, get more on their portfolio. But also notably, I don't have to spend months.
That's cool.
Trying to figure out what Photoshop is like. I have to buy Photoshop. I have to buy, GIMP Studios or whatever the hell.
Well,
and learn everything throughout all that and spend every waking moment of my free time learning a completely new program so I could do it for free. Like, yeah, if I'm really struggling to the point where it's like that's where I need to make my decisions, then by all means, that's what you got to do. Like if it's like $20 for somebody else to do it,
I didn't know it would be this cheap. For lack of a better word, not trying to make it sound crazy, but like I didn't think it'd be this cheap. I thought it'd be hundreds of dollars.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're like for video editing, right? Video editing is something that, you know, we have right now. We've gone for about what, almost 2 hours, right? Almost 2 hours we've been talking.
Yeah.
And so a 2-hour video for somebody to edit from start to finish is going to cost you more than giving them a 30-minute video of raw footage and telling them to edit that, right? So like if it's like a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll stream for 4 hours playing whatever game they do or hanging out with their community, and then they will give this raw VOD to somebody, $200, take all of, you know, I've timestamped these things that I felt were funny and important to the growth of my channel, make 15 shorts out of this VOD and make, you know, a 30-minute length video on the video game that we talked about and like shorten it to 30 minutes to give like a perspective of how I felt about the game that we went over for 4 hours. And there are editors who are just able to do that. It's just naturally, they have all the templates already set up in their program to be like, cool, this person wants this thing. I hit this button. I turn that 15-second portion or this 1-minute portion, immediately transfer it to a different timeline, create it as a short, export it, all within seconds. It's like, oh, you want to add a little bit of like text filter, right? Like a text to, to pop up on the screen whenever you're talking about it. Yeah. Like there are people out there who are just so trained in doing this. And as much as I would love to learn it because it's a skill that is effective in today's day and age, I don't have to, because if I invest the money that I'm making doing content into myself to then do that, that means that I don't have to spend as much time on it and other people get paid. I'm helping out more widespread than I am just like hoarding every single dollar to myself. And I get to continue to bring content that I know the people that I watch would enjoy, or the people who watch me would enjoy, because I'm paying the editor that I enjoy to do that. So yeah,
Sweet.
Invest in yourself. That's my keynote.
Well, I'm going to say time to wrap things up because we're an hour and 45 minutes according to my timer. So we're keeping it a little bit shorter, but we're also not trying to, tickle that 2 hour. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I will say that next Saturday, aka last Saturday when you see this video, or Sunday technically, our next Sunday, the last Sunday, I'll be recording another video with I think Matt and one of the other locals that are going to go over the puffin deck that we're going to try and derail and make better, because I feel like it needs a lot of help. So we're going to try some deck teching with that and see what happens. So
yeah, that'll be.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time. Thanks for having us on, Jacob.
LSS Hat Crew everybody. Signing out. Bye.